My sister always bragged about her perfect life and mocked my struggles. At our high school reunion, she tried to impress everyone with her husband's job until he saw me, froze, and whispered, "You're the CEO?" I just smiled and said, "Enjoy the buffet." Growing up in our modest split-level house in a sleepy suburb, I was always the shadow to my sister Olivia's spotlight. 2 years older, she was the golden child, homecoming queen, valedictorian, the girl who could charm a room with a smile. Perfect grades, perfect hair, perfect life. Teachers adored her, neighbors fawned over her, and our parents beamed like she was their personal masterpiece. Me? I was the kid who faded into the background, the one teachers forgot until they checked the roster. Quiet, awkward, always scribbling in notebooks or tinkering with some half-baked idea. I wasn't invisible, not exactly, but next to Olivia, I might as well have been a ghost. The gap between us wasn't just age, it was a canyon carved by her confidence and my uncertainty. She had a knack for making me feel small, not always with malice, but with a careless kind of cruelty. I'd show her a poem I'd poured my heart into, and she'd smirk, "That's cute. Maybe stick to math." When I made the JV soccer team after months of practice, she laughed, "You're not exactly messy, are you?" It wasn't just her words, it was the way she'd tilt her head, her eyes glinting with pity, like she was doing me a favor by pointing out my flaws. As a teenager, trying to figure out who I was, those moments cut deep, leaving scars I didn't notice until years later. High school ended, but the dynamic didn't. Olivia sailed into a prestigious college on a full scholarship, majoring in something shiny like communications, while I limped through 2 semesters at a local community college before dropping out. School wasn't for me, too many rules, too little room for the restless curiosity that kept me up at night. While Olivia posted about sorority formals and summer internships, I was couch surfing, picking up gig work, delivery apps, odd jobs, anything to keep the lights on in my shared apartment with peeling paint and a leaky faucet. Family gatherings were the worst. Olivia would sweep in, all designer heels and glossy highlights, regaling everyone with tales of her crazy schedule or her husband Ethan's latest tech conference in Davos or Dubai. "We're just so busy," she'd sigh, like it was a badge of honor, while I sat there clutching a can of store-brand cola, dodging questions about my plans. Her jabs were subtle but sharp. It must be nice to have so much free time, or not everyone's cut out for the corporate life, right? Our parents would nod, their pride in her a silent rebuke to my aimlessness. I'd smile, say nothing, and count the minutes until I could leave. The truth? I was lost. My 20s were a patchwork of false starts, failed Etsy shops, half-baked apps, a blog that got 10 views. I wasn't good at much, but I was scrappy. I listened to customers, to trends, to the gaps in what people needed. One day, a side hustle clicked, a small platform connecting freelancers with local businesses. It wasn't glamorous, just a solution to a problem I'd noticed while delivering takeout. A few clients signed up, then a few more. I taught myself to code, to market, to negotiate. Made mistakes, big ones, like losing a client over a buggy update, but learned fast. By 27, that side hustle was a business. By 30, it was a company with a real office, 20 employees, and a name people recognized. I didn't talk about it, not to family, not to anyone. Olivia assumed I was still scraping by, and I let her. Maybe I wanted to avoid her inevitable eye roll. Or maybe I wanted to keep something for myself. Update 1. The invitation. The email for our 15-year high school reunion landed in my inbox on a Tuesday, buried between client contracts and spam. Join us for a night of nostalgia. It chirped, listing a date at a local hotel ballroom. I almost deleted it. High school wasn't exactly a highlight reel, awkward lunches, locker room taunts, Olivia's shadow looming over every step. But something stopped me. Not revenge, not really. Curiosity, maybe. Who were these people now? Had life humbled them? Or were they still playing the same roles? And Olivia, what was her game these days? Would she still wear that smug smile, the one that said she'd won at life while I was still figuring out the rules? I RSVP'd, yes, and didn't tell a soul. The night arrived, cool and crisp, the kind of autumn evening that smells like fallen leaves and possibility. I drove to the event center, a mid-range hotel with a neon sign and a parking lot full of sensible sedans. I'd chosen my outfit carefully, a tailored black suit, crisp white shirt, no tie. Clean, modern, understated. The kind of look that doesn't scream wealth but carries its weight. My company had done well, well enough for a nice car, a condo, a life I'd built from scratch, but I wasn't here to flex. I just wanted to see. The ballroom was a time capsule dressed up with string lights and cheap tablecloths. Pop hits from 2008 blared through tinny speakers, and the air smelled of catered meatballs and nostalgia. Faces I vaguely recognized milled around, some softer with age, others hardened by it. A former jock with a receding hairline shook my hand, squinting at my name tag. "Wait, you're Olivia's brother? Man, you got tall." I smiled, nodded, kept moving. Then I saw her. Olivia, commanding a corner of the room like it was her personal stage. She looked good polished, not a hair out of place, in a red dress that screamed, "Look at me." She was mid-story, her voice carrying over the crowd, something about a villa in Tuscany, her husband's Tesla, his VP role at a tech firm. Her audience, former cheerleaders and debate team nerds, lapped it up, nodding like she was giving a TED Talk. Then I saw Ethan, her husband. Tall, neatly groomed, with an expensive watch that caught the light. He was charming the group, all polished smiles and corporate buzzwords. I knew his face instantly, not from family dinners, but from a resume. 3 years ago, he'd applied for a senior role at my company. His pitch was slick, but his numbers didn't add up, and we passed. He hadn't recognized me then, just another name on an org chart. But now, as I moved closer, his eyes landed on my name tag. His smile faltered, his face twitching like he'd been slapped. He leaned in, voice low, almost a hiss. "You're the CEO?" I met his gaze, calm as stone. "Enjoy the buffet," I said, and walked away. Update 2. When the mask slips. I didn't expect Olivia to notice me so soon, but she did. Later that night, as I stood by the bar nursing a soda water, she sidled up, her perfume sharp and floral. Her voice was all fake casual, the kind she used when she wanted something. "So," she said, twirling a wine glass, "you own that company?" She named it, her tone carrying a faint sneer, like she couldn't quite believe it. "I saw something about it on a podcast, but I didn't realize it was you." I nodded, sipping my drink, letting the silence stretch. She pressed on, her smile tight. "Well, that's unexpected. I mean, I always thought you were more the creative type, not really the business kind." The jab landed, but I didn't flinch. Just let the quiet sit there, heavy, until she shifted uncomfortably, fiddling with her diamond ring. "Well, good for you," she added, like it pained her. "I mean, I'm glad something worked out. Not everyone finds their thing." That one stung, a faint echo of her old taunts. But it didn't matter. I'd found my thing, built it from nothing, brick by brick, while she was busy curating her perfect life. I didn't need to say it. The truth was louder than words. As the night wore on, I caught snippets of her voice, still loud, still performing. But there was a crack in her armor now, a slight hesitation when she mentioned Ethan's job, like she was checking if I was listening. I wasn't. I was talking to an old lab partner who'd become a teacher, swapping stories about the real world, not the one Olivia invented. Before I left, I overheard Ethan by the dessert table, his voice a little too eager. "Yeah, my brother-in-law runs that place," he said to some guy in an ill-fitting blazer. "We go way back." I almost laughed. Way back? To a rejected job application and a family that barely acknowledged me? I didn't correct him. Just smiled to myself and slipped out into the night. For the first time, I didn't feel like the ghost in her story. Final. Peace, finally. It's been 4 months since the reunion. Nothing dramatic followed. No tearful apologies, no heartfelt letters. Olivia didn't reach out, and I didn't expect her to. But something shifted, subtle but real. At the next family holiday, Thanksgiving at our cousin's house, Olivia was different. Still polished, still loud, but less, larger than life. She didn't mention Tuscany or Ethan's job. Didn't drop names or flaunt her gated community address. She sat across from me at the dinner table, and for the first time in years, she asked a real question. "How's work?" Not sarcastic, not patronizing. Just curious. I kept it short. "Good. Busy." No flex, no numbers. Just the truth. She nodded, her eyes lingering on me a moment longer than usual. In that silence, I felt something unspoken, a crack in the canyon between us. Not forgiveness, not yet, but an acknowledgement. We were two people raised in the same house, chasing different versions of success, proving ourselves to a world that didn't always care. I don't need her approval anymore. I spent too many years craving it, measuring myself against her shine. But building my company, through late nights, bad code, angry clients, and 1,000 near failures, taught me something she never could. My worth isn't tied to her opinion. My life isn't perfect. I work too much, sleep too little, and sometimes wonder if I missed something by cutting myself off from family. But it's mine. I built it. And when I walked away from that reunion, leaving Olivia and Ethan to their buffet and their whispers, I felt something new. Peace. Not the kind that comes from winning an argument or proving a point. The kind that comes from knowing who you are, scars and all, and not needing anyone else to see it. Sometimes, that's the real victory.